right, class. All right. Let's find our seats and prepare for today's class. Quiet, let's bring the volume way down. You in the back, find your seat immediately. Thank you. All right, I'll give everyone just a brief moment to get settled. Go ahead and get your class materials out and prepared for the lesson. Good, it looks like everyone's here. All right. Well, before we begin, I trust that everyone has turned in their homework from last night. Of course, it is due immediately and not during or after class. I will not be accepting any late work. So, show of hands, who was either unable or unproductive enough to finish the homework assignment from last night? Raise your hand. Really, no hands. Well, I do find that surprising, but I'm very pleased to hear that. Well done. Can anyone tell me what last night's homework was covering? Right, the rock tunnel in Kanto. Of course, we are continuing our unit on the species of Pokemon found in the Kanto region. Raise your hand if there was anything interesting or anything that stood out to you about your reading covering the rock tunnel. Anyone? Yes, you in the back. Ah, excellent. You were surprised to find the data on Kangaskhan sightings in the rock tunnel. Well, that's an astute observation. Kangaskhan, of course, is not a typical Pokemon that one would think of to find in a tunnel or cave or thing of that nature. That's great. That's good. Do you recall what the encounter rate for Kangaskhan sightings in the rock tunnel was? 5%. Very well done. That's correct. Kangaskhan is designated as the rarest Pokemon sighted in the rock tunnel, but it does share that rarity designation with one other Pokemon found in the rock tunnel. Show of hands, does anyone know what the other Pokemon that shares Kangaskhan's designation? You up front. That's correct. Marowak. Well done. Well done. I was not expecting anyone to get that one. Marowak and Kangaskhan are both the rarest Pokemon to be sighted in the rock tunnel area, of course. These sightings, of course, are calculated, or the encounter rate is calculated, rather, on verified sightings in the wild. Verified through an official Pokemon lab, that is. Right. Well done on that homework assignment. And that will lead us perfectly into today's assignment, covering the ground-type Pokemon, Cubone. That's correct. I know many of you assumed that we would be covering Cubone due to the live Cubone on my desk. A wonderful staff member here at the school was very kind enough to allow Cubone to spend a bit of time with us during this class as a bit of a visual aid. So, Cubone, thank you for joining us this evening, and a very well-behaved Cubone, might I add. So, please make Cubone feel welcome, and you're more than welcome after class to stick around and have a closer look if you'd like. Perfect. Well, without further ado, everyone please grab your Pokemon textbook, your Pokedex guide, and turn to page 205. I'll give everyone just a moment to get turned to the correct page before we begin. Do you need help finding it? Oh, it looks like you've got it. Great job. Everyone else, let's go ahead and get finished up. Looks like we are almost there. Last one in the back. Alright, good. Well, let's go ahead and get started. So, like stated before, today's lesson is over the Pokemon Cubone. let's start with the characteristics. Cubone is designated as the Lonely Pokémon. Does anyone know why Cubone has that designation? Right, you would immediately assume that it is connected to the well-known trait of the loss that it carries with it in form of the skull of its deceased mother that it wears on its head. You would be correct, it's not the only deciding factor in that designation, but it does carry quite a bit of weight. Cubone are naturally solitary creatures. They prefer to live alone, forage alone, and even under the tutelage of other Pokemon trainers, they will still be a bit standoffish from your other Pokemon, so don't be alarmed if you do see those behavioral traits. They are just part of its overall nature. It's a self-induced loneliness, but a bit of a dignified loner, if you will. Isn't that right, Cubone? Cubone is a mono ground type, meaning that it does have weakness to grass, water, and ice. Can anyone tell me the Pokemon type in which Cubone is immune to with that ground typing? Yes. Electric type. Excellently done once again. A ground type, as hopefully many of you remember, has immunity to any and all electrical attacks, so Cubone would be well suited against electric type trainers or gym leaders such as the Vermilion City gym leader Lieutenant Surge and his powerful Raichu. Coupled with the high defense stat, makes Cubone a powerhouse in situations like that. In terms of physical characteristics, we do have the most well-known feature being the skull of Cubone's deceased mother that are always seen on Cubone's head. A mystery in the field of Pokemon research has long been the true appearance of Cubone. The real face and head structure of a Cubone has not been officially documented or pictured in the wild, and although stories and alleged sightings have been told or reported, no official source of what a Cubone looks like under the skull-like helmet exists. So maybe one of you lucky students will be the first in recorded history to make that discovery. That is the beauty of and the mystery of the Pokemon universe that keeps all of us looking ahead and studying in hopes to uncover the next great truth. Besides the skull, we do have the well-known, if you just will let me for a moment, Cubone, the well-known Bone Club. The Bone Club is always present with a Cubone, and in the rare occasion that you do spot a Cubone without its Bone Club, it's usually a sign of distress or evidence that Cubone has survived a rather vicious attack in the wild, so it's best to treat those Cubone either by taking them to a Pokemon Center or giving them first aid treatment in the field if you can. Besides the Bone Club, we do have large spikes on the opposable thumbs, which give it a bit of natural defense in situations where the Bone Club is not available. Any questions so far? If there are no further questions, let's go ahead and move on to habitat. The most common areas that Cubone are sighted in are rocky areas such as mountains or caves, such as Rock Tunnel, which we previously discussed in the homework assignment last night. These areas are perfect for wild Cubone because they give them defensive areas to hide and protect themselves due to their solitary nature. Of course, they are a bit more prone to predation, and a bit more vulnerable to predators, since they don't have a pack or usually other Pokemon around to protect them. So this is why they look for large boulders or rocky outcrops, crevices in which they can hide during the day and then slowly and skittishly emerge during the moonlight hours. Other areas like caves are perfect due to the dark and secluded nature, makes them feel safe and protected. Other than rocky areas and mountainous regions, Cubone can also be found in grassy plains, fields, or foothills, and oftentimes as well can be found in more dry and arid desert-like environments, as long as the heat is tolerable and there are, of course, structures to create homes and defensive outlooks and outcrops for Cubone. So, if you are looking for Cubone in a place like a field or grassland or arid desert, it's best to look around large structures, maybe like a fallen tree, boulders, a thicket, or things like that. Anywhere that a Cubone can protect itself from predators or the elements, or just a place to lay down and take a nap or rest during the day. Those are the best places to find Cubone if, of course, you are looking in a less common area that's not one of the rocky areas or mountains, tunnels, things like that. So just a bit of a tip if, of course, you do intend to search for a Cubone in the wild. So, more specifically, places in the Kanto region in which Cubone are very common are, like we stated, the rock tunnel, which is the most common area to look for Cubone in, as well as the safari zone. The safari zone in the desert area, or the default area there by the entrance of the gate. Cubone are regularly spotted and are usually easy to capture, so if indeed you are after a Cubone, those might be the best places to start. Any questions on habitat? Alright, perfect. Well, if there are no further questions regarding habitat, let's go ahead and move on to battle data. Evolving at level 28, Cubone then become the more powerful version, Marowak. The first thing that you might notice is the difference in appearance between Marowak's skull here and how it looks once adorned by a Cubone itself. Now, science is a bit split on the reason for such a phenomenon, but the two most prevailing theories are, one, that once adorned by a Cubone, a bit of metamorphosis is triggered, and the skull then forms into a new version. The second theory is that it's simply a sign of degradation once the passing of the Marowak is completed, if you will. Both theories are relatively accepted, and it's really up to you to decide which is the theory that makes the most sense. Or perhaps one of you, once again, will discover something new. Only time will tell. But other than that, Cubone boast a high defense stat and rather low stats otherwise. A stat of 50 attack and 40 special attack. So physical attacks are most well suited for this Pokemon, but the defensive stat makes it most suitable for defense against physical attackers. So I would steer clear of powerful special attackers if I were you when training, especially early on with a Cubone, and stick to more physical attacks if you are going to go on the offensive. Attacks for Cubone range from Bone Club, Bonerang, and Bone Rush at higher levels, which all take advantage of the ground typing. Any questions? Yes. Another excellent question. There are several TMs that are perfectly suited for Cubone. These, of course, would be ground-type TMs that have a physical nature of attack, such as Dig and Earthquake. Both are extremely powerful and perfect choices for battle with your Cubone that will take advantage of its slightly higher attack stat and its ground typing. So, excellent question. Very impressive. Any other questions? Alright, perfect. Abilities range from Rock Head and Lightning Rod. Let's discuss Rock Head first and its advantage with Cubone. Rock Head allows a Pokemon to be immune to recoil damage from an attack that they use. So, can anyone raise their hand and give me an attack that is learnable by Cubone and that would take advantage of the Rock Head ability? Of course, you may look down and consult your textbook. You in the back? No, I'm afraid Lear would not take advantage of either its attack stat or its rocket ability. But thank you for trying. Ah, yes. Right, once again. I think we have a star pupil here, ladies and gentlemen. The move Double Edge would be an excellent move to have your Cubone learn. It both naturally learns it by leveling up, rather, and it will be immune to that pesky recoil damage if, of course, your Cubone boasts the Rock Head ability. Well done. So, the secondary ability available for Cubone is, of course, Lightning Rod. Can anyone tell me what Lightning Rod's effect would be? In the back. No, not you, you. Ah, yes, of course. Lightning Rod forces a target who uses an electric type move and forces them to target Cubone with it. So this is most useful in a double battle situation. So if you are tag teaming with one of your other Pokemon in a party or a companion's Pokemon, and you are going up against, let's say, a Pikachu, and your companion or your other Pokemon that you're using is a Wailmer, of course you would be immediately worried about Pikachu's electric type attacks against your water type Wailmer, but with Lightning Rod, all electric type moves would be directed at Cubone, in which it would be immune to due to the ground typing. That's right, you can see the advantage and how excellently played that would be in battle. So, depending on which ability your Cubone possesses, kind of would guide your strategy in battle and how you would attempt to raise a Cubone. Correct. Any other questions? All right. Well, oh, I'm sorry, yes. Excellent question back there. Yes, Cubone will actually, let's get that slide back up. Cubone will actually have several advantages if kept from evolving for a prolonged period of time in terms of levels in which it can learn moves, and most notably more powerful moves like Bone Rush, its most powerful special ground type move. Right, so for example, if you evolve your Cubone into Marowak at the standard and traditional level 28, it will not learn Bone Rush until level 43. Right, but if you do keep your Cubone from evolving early, it can learn that move at a expedited level 37. So if there are some powerful moves that you are hoping that your Cubone can learn, it's sometimes best to keep it from evolving too soon and give it a bit of extra time training at its current state. Excellent question. Anything else? Alright, well, if there are no further questions, let's go ahead and cover today's assignment. Stay on page 250. I say that lightning and thunder is getting quite aggressive outside. Please do be careful heading to the bus or on your bicycle. Alright, page 250, we are going to cover the learnable moveset through leveling up of Cubone today. I want a full list of all moves that are learnable by Cubone through leveling up, of course. I want the level in which it's learned, the name of the move, as well as the effect of the move. No grumbling. You knew that we had a lot to cover today, and thus you should not be surprised. Due by the end of the class, and please, this time, don't forget to put your name on your papers. You can just leave them on the desk in the pile beside the homework from last night, which I will start grading immediately. So please do raise your hand if you have a question about today's assignment or any of the material covered. Alright, well, I will be at my desk. Please, once again, raise your hand if you have any questions. Yes, I can help you real quick, sorry. So, those moves that we're going to be learning are just the ones right here on this list. Right, so we're just going to start